Okay, so we're recording now. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, theoretical answers. How do you make them more practical?
Yeah.
To make answers practical, what you need is people's stories and examples of how people were in your answer. Okay?
Hmm.
Tell it like a story. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I'll give you the same example again of the football story that I mentioned.
Hmm.
I'm a player. I played for Chelsea. I scored 3 goals in Champions League final of 2018.
Yeah.
The goal led to our success, our first ever win as a club in the history of the Premier League, winning the European trophy. My assist was provided by Thierry Henry, and the second assist was provided by Cristiano Ronaldo. The third assist was provided by Lionel Messi. Right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Now I'm putting in flesh. I'm
Hmm.
adding people. I'm showing context. I'm not just talking about I scored 3 goals in the Champions League final and that's it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So I'm putting in context. I'm mentioning names. Even though I'm not mentioning names, I'm mentioning roles.
Hmm.
Do you understand? My
Hmm.
left winger, my left striker, my supporting striker, my. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah.
mentioning roles. I'm mentioning names. I'm mentioning context, not just this, and this. So
Hmm.
in your example, now let's talk about project management or aligning strategy. Do you understand? I'm just using that example because we can relate to it both.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Now, project management and how do you align strategy with program outcomes? Example, you know your situation. I've told you about your situation. I've told you about how to use the situation, put context to the situation. We have a large trust. We're the largest in the Greater Manchester area. I We serve 20,000 patients on a weekly basis. We serve about 2 million patients on an annual basis, or 200,000 on an annual basis, however large you want to call it, right? I mean, use real figures if you can't find them. Don't cook things up. Get. Now, you talked about this, and then you talked about the problem. The problem was that we had 60% DNA rate, we had on the day cancellation
Yeah.
50%, we had patient satisfaction down at 20%. We
Yeah.
had staff satisfaction poor at 30%. People turnover rate was high. That's the problem, right? And I
Yeah.
was brought on with my colleagues, a team of 5, to lead the outpatient transformation program within a period of 6 months. Whatever context you are giving to the task, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how did we then do this? I set up a meeting with my colleagues first. You're telling a story. You're giving that context, how we started,
Hmm.
what we
Yeah.
did. I approached the program lead or the senior resource officer or whoever you are, the senior responsible officer for the program, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
approached him, a very fantastic person. He was very, very supportive with me. You are giving context. You are giving context. You are telling story. You are putting a jasa. Do you get me? You are
Yeah.
putting context to it. It was someone that was very, very open and very, very understanding. I approached him. I I was able to lay out my plans for the program after submitting the PED. You know, in a way, you are talking about practical. I mean, you're talking about theory, but then you are putting more practical
More.
in it, more
Hmm.
practical. I approached him and I presented the PED after working with my colleagues to develop the PED. They
Okay.
don't need to learn about how to write a PED because they
Hmm.
know that you've done all those things. It
Hmm.
is the story that is important to them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Anybody that's listening to you, it's the story that is important because they know what is 5Y, they know what is Pareto, they know what is process mapping, they know all those things that they know you would know because you've
Yeah.
even passed through written
System.
assessment stage.
Yeah.
You've written your application, so they've read everything and then they've seen that okay, yes, we want to see this person. That's why they've called you for an interview. We want to
Hmm.
listen to his context. We've seen all he said. Now we want to listen to his context. So that's the context you will now be bringing forward, right? And also, I should mention that if you are giving responses, please make sure that you reference some of the ones you gave in your examples in your essay.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
In the supporting
In
statement,
your
yes.
yes, in your application, yes. Make
Mm,
mention of some of them. You understand? Because
mm,
if you are imagine if you are coming in, right, and you have all your stories in your supporting statement that you got to the
mm,
interview stage, right?
mm,
And then you get to interview and you're talking different stories that you did not even make any reference to any one of those stories.
any,
It just
mm.
feels like you
Is a
went
different
to
person.
yes
Mm,
you went to scout for a striker that
mm,
scored an hat-trick
mm,
in a Premier League match, right?
mm,
And then you bring him to your team and he's playing defense. He's not
mm,
scoring. Do you understand?
mm.
Like
Yeah.
he's not tying up with who you scouted.
Mm,
Do you get? So he has to match, right?
mm. Yeah.
So that's the point about that. So please make reference to your examples also that you've made. So like I said,
Mm,
give context to your situation, give context to your task, give context to your action, and give context to your results. And where is you should spend more, I mean not spend a lot of time, but talk about your reflection and your learnings. Like, so what would you do differently? How I would do this differently? I would do this differently by starting with this as opposed to this. It's a vulnerable experience for you to show that, oh, you did something wrongly, even though you did it well, but you would have done it differently. There's always room for improvement. That is something that you should never make a mistake about.
so
There's always,
continuous
do you
improvement.
understand? There's always room for improvement. Even though it's to say that, oh, even though you think the program went fantastically well, like it went best, right? You had award, you even had an award for it, right?
Yeah.
There is still something about trying something new,
Yeah.
trying something different. Do you
Mm,
understand? So you can
mm.
always say that, oh, I think the program went very well. We achieved all our aim. However, I think if I were to do it again, I would try something new. I would try this. I would test this. I would test that. Do you understand? This is not you
Yeah.
saying something went wrong.
Yeah.
Something did not go to plan. Everything went to plan. It was a fantastic idea. However, I learned that doing all of this, doing all of that would result in this. However, I want to do it with this trust. You mentioned their name. You understand? Like, if I were to do it with Milton Keynes Trust, if I
Mm,
were to do it in your trust, if I were to do it in this organization, I would be trying it out differently. I'll be, understanding what works in here.
yeah.
Because you cannot
Mm,
just bring your knowledge and just superimpose it on people. You have to see what is working in their own space and adapt to their own culture. Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay. So, any other question?
Um, um, I wanted to ask, so this response I gave now, I know you've done a lot of correction. Does it sound theoretical? Before I mentioned that they said my responses sounds theoretical. I want to know if I've improved on those feedback.
Yeah, yes, it sounded theoretical. That's why I told you. I mentioned something about you not having context.
Okay.
Do you understand? So,
Mm,
yes, you did not have a lot of context to it.
okay.
Do you understand? So and
Mm,
that's why I've mentioned. I mean, I would not say it is theoretical. That
yeah.
was not the term I would use. But like I
Yes.
said,
Mm,
you still need to work on that. You still need to, improve on that part. And I mean, context, adding context to a story is what adds life to the story.
mm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It does. Mm, okay. Let's
Okay. Next question. So 1 minute to read, and
okay.
you can just fire
So,
away.
appreciate. Okay, I mean, let me answer this now. In my current role, I led the implementation of an electronic patient record system that involved multidisciplinary stakeholders. I worked with clinicians from various specialties. I worked with operational leads and service lead, divisional finance manager, IT, as well as non-clinical stakeholders. My task was to ensure that everyone is engaged, and I was able to my task is to ensure everyone is actively involved and engaged, irrespective of their expertise, um, to achieve results. I first and foremost identify my stakeholders who I by utilizing the NICEs to know who my commissioner is, who is paying for this project, who are collaborators, who are my contributors, who are my um, vendors that I'll be working with, who is a channel, for example, NHS England. Having identified my stakeholders, I then prioritize my stakeholders so as to know who to satisfy, who to actively involve, who to monitor, and who to inform so as to get everyone engaged on this project. I then develop tailored communication plan to suit the needs of all stakeholders. For CEOs and board members, I made use of um, updates, monthly updates so as to engage, get their involvement on this project. For carers, frontline staff, as well as patient representative, I ensured I invited them to weekly meetings, weekly review meetings, conferences, um, to for stakeholders with high influence and low impact. I ensured I monitor them closely by utilizing monthly newsletter, um, and also all other stakeholders. I utilize monthly newsletter to keep them involved. I conducted review meetings, weekly review meetings. I built trackers, real-time trackers that visualize progress of the project and give access to all stakeholders so they could monitor progress. I also ensured I utilize feedback from frontline staff as well as patient representatives so as to ensure their needs are adequately met. Um, as a result of my approach, stakeholders' satisfaction increased by 40%. Um, Stakeholders were empowered to use the electronic patient record system, and we gain a lot of. Um, I was able to achieve a great number of buying. I was able to achieve maximum buying from all stakeholders. Post implementation reviews gave feedback that stakeholders were all happy throughout the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your response. Right?
Yep.
So the same thing. I'll still give you a one.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did
I
you
know
say?
it. No, no, no. From my own response. No, no, no. It's not you. It's not
Okay.
you. It's me. From my
Okay.
response.
Okay.
I don't see no. Yeah.
So so now I would and I mean you know the response, like you have the story, hmm?
Yeah.
But what
Yeah.
you need is to breathe life into it.
It's,
Okay,
mm,
please breathe life into it. Now I would explain how to do that, and hopefully you are going to do it for the next question. You talked about stakeholders,
yeah.
stakeholders, stakeholders. You only mentioned the group of stakeholders. You said CEOs and board members. You used, I think it was
Monthly
emails,
updates.
monthly updates, and then you talked about having feedback form for patients,
Yeah.
representative, and stuff.
Yeah.
Right now, when I mean breathing life into it, is to talk about this group of stakeholders, like the patient's representative,
Yeah.
were the ones that had actually requested for this, right? They they were happy when
Yeah.
I did this for them, and patient satisfaction was high. Do you understand? Not
Yeah.
stakeholders were satisfied. You now mentioned the specific stakeholder. Do you
Mm,
understand?
mm,
That is you
yeah.
giving it context. Okay?
Yeah.
You also talk about and how did you do it? Like who was difficult? What was the challenge? Who which group? You know, the CEO, the board members were difficult. They needed. I noticed that this group of stakeholders fell into my high impact, high influence group, and I
Mm.
knew that I need to manage them closely.
Yeah.
That is why I developed a weekly email or a monthly email to the CEO and the board members
Mm.
because I know that I need to manage them constantly for this project. And using that, I found out that that avenue gave me the right engagement with my CEO or with the trust board. Do you understand? That's you giving life and context to it.
Yeah.
It's not just this group of stakeholders. Because you've mentioned the stakeholders already. We know they are all stakeholders. So you have to give the context, the nitty gritty, the cocoa. Do you understand?
Mm.
Like you
Mm.
have to give the gist. Remember that this thing is not about, like I said, don't forget, oh, it is not about the theory. It is about what exactly happened and how did you fizzled your way around it. How did you navigate it? That's what they want. It's not about the theory. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Hmm? It is how did you put context? How did you do it in your own way? How did you do it with your own style? Do you understand it?
Yeah.
So that's
True.
what they are trying to see here. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So they said, how do you approach engaging diverse stakeholders and gaining buy-in for complex change programs? Right? I've
Yeah.
mentioned the STAR approach. The situation. Hmm? The
Mm.
situation here is that let's talk about a program. So, outpatient or EPR program. Oh, thank you very much for that question. I'll give an example of when I managed to engage with multiple or engage with diverse stakeholders on a huge transformational project like the transformation of the electronic patient record program of North Cumbria Trust, right?
Yeah.
Now, this project involved me engaging with a large number of stakeholders across senior executives,
Mm.
mid-level managers, frontline workers, patient representatives, and technical development team. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Across multiple location and with different power and influence or interests. Do you understand? You are giving context to how complex this thing is. And all of this one is still your situation,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
My task, you don't have to say my task, but I understood immediately that I need to manage this effectively by engaging these stakeholders in the ways that matters most to them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you're already talking about your task, small, small. Do you get? You
Yeah.
understood that you need to engage these stakeholders in the ways that matters most to them. For so now you are using also how you understand it by so you say for the group I used the power interest matrix to categorize my stakeholders. For example, the CEO and the board members were in my high power, high interest stake or group because you have to give why. Why do you think they are there? Because they were funding the program and they could stop it if
Yeah.
their objectives or if their desires were not met. So I realized that I needed to manage their relationship or keep them abreast with all the information on the project closely. That's one. The other group of stakeholders that I also paid attention to were the clinicians, the doctors who are using, or the frontline workers who are using and interacting with the EPR system as
Mm.
part of their job roles. They were the most affected by this because we're bringing in a new EPR system.
Yeah.
I knew that I needed to manage the relationship or to manage their expectation because this was going to impact the way they work. What I did was to, you're giving context, right? With this
Yeah.
group, I knew that I would need something more regular, and an open door policy would be necessary to be put in place for this particular group because they would have lots of questions, and I need to provide those answers. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That is context. The patients who are in my last quadrant, you don't have to mention all of the people in the quadrant. The patients or the patient and patient representatives who would not really be affected or who would not, I don't know, you get what I'm saying? Like it's just the
Yeah.
last group, you understand, that
Yeah.
that are not
With
impacted.
low, yeah, low
Yes,
power, low,
yes, and do
very
not have
fast.
high interest in it, or do who have low interest in it. I would need to be providing information to, because in as much as they are not affected or they don't have high power, high interest, you understand? Like in as much as they have low power to stop it or they have low impact on the project changing, they still needed
Mm.
to be kept updated with how the new way of working is going to look like. You understand? Like you can
Yeah.
form the English
Yeah.
by yourself. But you see how I've given all of those context to it. I've talked about
Mm.
patients, I've talked about, I've not just mentioned stakeholder A, stakeholder B, stakeholders, stakeholders, stakeholders. I've given you context to different things that you need to do for each people, right? Now
Yeah.
you now go to talk about, so what did you do? I implemented the open door policy for the doctors. You understand? This is not just stakeholders anymore. I implemented a weekly update session for the doctors and for the clinicians and for the nurses and for the, you know, this. I I ensured that my team members or my assistant was sending emails regularly, and I was keeping on in touch with that. Or I ensured that I and my team provided weekly updates to the CEO. He was someone who was really, really interested in the project and was providing necessary funding. Therefore, I needed to provide him monthly updates via email.
Mm.
Do you understand? I needed to
Yeah.
provide monthly updates via email. And I was happy because sometimes he responded to some of my updates, highlighting strengths, highlighting where his passion are, highlighting what he was not happy about, and we could make changes easily by his insights. Do you understand? Now,
Mm.
I'm not saying all of these things that I'm giving you as example would have happened in your project
Yeah.
every time. Do you understand?
Yeah.
But this is how you now need to start looking. My delivery is here already. So just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, what was I saying? I was talking about,
The different type of breaking down the stakeholders.
yes, breaking down the stakeholders and putting in context. Do you understand? So please flesh out your answers and put in context. You understand? For
Yeah.
this group of stakeholders, this is what I did. Or this is the group that I did this with. Do you understand? And this is how I
Mm.
did it. This is this reason why I did it. This is what I saw when I did it.
Mm.
Do you understand? And then don't just use the blanket word stakeholders, stakeholders, stakeholders. After you've used it initially,
Mm.
you know, it means, oh, when I understood these are going to be my stakeholders. For this group, for the patients, for the CEO, for the trust, for the doctors, for the clinicians, for the frontline workers, you're mentioning their names and you're talking about what you did specifically for each of those groups because that is how you engaged with them. Because this is an engagement question and how that led to your buying. Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's go to the third question. And please, please, before you answer the question, right? Like I said, take that 1 minute. If you need a glass of water or something, that's fine. Take that 1 minute, think about how would you show the context? How would you breathe life into this example that you want to give? Okay?
Yeah, can I quickly ask a question?
Yes,
Is
please.
it possible to you, for example, you are still leading a project and you have not gone live,
Hmm.
and you use it in an interview?
Yes, now.
I'm saying no. I think these are. I mean, for that kind of project, maybe I can use it under risk and all. But for when they say a change you led or a project you led, now maybe they're expecting. Can I use that too under that?
Yes, you can use it. Like a project you led. You are leading the project. You have not left your job, obviously.
Yeah,
Do you understand? You are leading the project. So it's a project you led or you are leading. You can just say, oh, you can even give them context to say that, oh, currently this project, this is where it is. This is what I'm doing on it. You understand that it is still in the
yeah,
ideation phase, or is still in management or discovery phase, or whatever it is that we are in. You understand? We are still testing. This is what we are doing. Do you understand?
yeah,
But it's not about the stage of the project.
mm,
Hmm? It's not about the
yeah,
stage of the project, because where you are going to, you are not going to go and manage the same projects that you were managing in the previous trust.
yeah,
Do you understand?
yeah,
You are going to manage a new, different project, a totally different project. You understand? Something different from it. But what you are going to be doing is going to be based on the person you are
yeah,
from the previous project. So it
mm,
is not, it is less of what you did, but
mm.
how you did it. Do
How you did it? Mm,
you understand? So it is how. It is the how they want to hear from you in interviews. So how did you do it? You understand? They've read about all the things you did, and then they've seen that, okay, yeah, this person is somebody that we can listen to in an interview. So how did he do it? That's what we want to find out. Okay?
mm,
So please think about it. How is what you need to tell them, not what. Yes, you need to tell them what you did, because you're not going to just ramble and tell them how you did everything. You need to tell them what you did, but you have to show them how. Hmm? Do you
yeah,
understand what I'm saying? Like, because see an example in this stakeholder one. What you did is you manage your stakeholders effectively. You provided them with updates, weekly updates for this group, daily updates or newsletter, open door chat, live chat for this group. That's what you did, right? But how? Do you understand? How gives context. How tells the story. How is what they need. Okay?
mm.
Because two people would know what to do, but how one person would do it will be different from how the other person will do it. And that how makes the difference. Or do you not agree?
I do. I do agree.
Okay. So next question.
Hmm.
Do you want to take a break?
No, let's just continue because I'm also looking at your timing also, so that then after it, then I'll now go back to the corrections, recording, and work on them.
Okay. Your interview is tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Another thing I should also mention, or maybe let me first understand what your context is first. So you said you've been doing interview for how long now?
I mean, I'm saying from January to now, that should be average of should be up to 12, if not more than
Interviews or applications?
interviews.
Okay. Okay.
Interviews.
So what role are you in currently?
Project manager.
What band are you on?
Currently, I'm on band 6.
Okay. And um, are you on a, like, what's your visa situation like? Is it like are you pressured for a
No, no, I'm not pressured. I mean, I declined the sponsorship they gave me because my wife is on a skilled worker visa already.
okay, so
She's
you're
a
on a
nurse.
dependent
She's a
visa?
nurse. Yeah,
Okay.
I will be. I mean, I'm here to. I'm applying this month, so I'm still on graduate visa. My own.
Oh, okay. So you came in for study, and then you're on
Yeah. Then I
postgraduate
did
visa,
graduate. Yes.
but you want to switch to your a dependent visa
Yes.
for your wife.
Yes.
Okay. The reason why I asked is that so that I don't want you to. I just wanted to understand. You understand? So that because I wanted to tell you that I don't want you to be pressured.
Pressured.
Do you understand? Right?
Mm.
Because if you are pressured, hmm, no
Yeah.
matter what, no matter if you have the best answers and everything, you would show.
Mm.
Do you understand what I'm saying? It would
Yeah.
show in your interview if you are pressured. So I would like you to relax and think of it as even this our discussion. I want you to think of it like you are telling me a story. I don't know you from anywhere,
Yeah.
right? Now, why should I want to believe you based on what you are telling me? You know when you're telling somebody gist,
Mm.
you
Sorry.
understand?
Mm.
If you're telling somebody gist, if you're singing your own praises, you would put
Mm.
lots of adjustment.
Just.
Do you understand? Like,
Yeah.
let me give you an example now. If you want to tell somebody that I'll use football example, but let's say you want to tell somebody that you, how well you did in school, right? How well you did in school. You'll be
Yeah.
telling them that, oh, I read 10 hours straight and I passed that exam with A1. I was the only one in this class that passed with A1.
Mm.
Do you understand? In
Mm.
fact, the way I read, for you to know how well I read, I was reading in the library. I was not reading in my room. Oh. I was reading in the library from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Those are context. I was reading with my friend. Oh, my friend too. He passed, but he did not get rich meal, but he passed. You understand?
Mm.
I was, that is context. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is
Yeah.
context. You are showing people, you know, because I did not know. If you just tell me that, oh, I passed my masters and I got a distinction, I did not know. Like you have to tell me, oh, how many courses did you do? How
Mm.
many A1s did you do? Your distinction is it 90 or is it 99?
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
so that's the context that I want you to be putting into your examples. Do you get? Because imagine that this person is a novice to you, not to the program, not to program management or project management or anything.
Mm.
This person is a novice to you, so they don't know you from Jack Adam. You have to. I know in your mind some details will be coming up, right? Think of the story. Think of what is happening, what has happened, right? And be looking for how to show that story because what you are doing here is you are telling somebody something about what has happened over 6 months in 5 minutes. Do you
Mm.
understand?
Yeah.
You're telling somebody what has happened in 6 months over 5 minutes. You need to be able to tell them so that it looks like a 6 month project.
Mm.
That is how answers, that's what differentiates theoretical answers from practical answers.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like if I
Yeah.
say, I don't know if you follow.
I follow. I follow. I'm trying in my head now. I'm trying to see. For example, now when I get to read, I'm trying to flesh all in my head, but I
Yes,
understand what you're saying.
yes. Another example is this: if I ask you, oh, how did you travel into the UK? You probably tell me I traveled from. I don't know if you're from Lagos or Abuja, but you
Mm.
can say, oh, it's either one of
MM.
those two airports you
MM2.
use.
Mm.
I traveled from Lagos via a direct flight to London Heathrow, right?
Mm. Mm.
That does not have context. But if you tell me that, oh, I left Lagos in the night on
Mm.
Thursday, 5th of September,
Mm.
I took Uber to MM2, right? In
Mm.
fact, it was
Mm.
15,000 that I took the Uber.
Mm. Mm.
I paid the guy through transfer with my OP bank, right? You're telling me
Mm.
a story now. You see that I'm now engaged. I'm thinking, what happened to OP? What happened to his bank account? What happened here? What happened there? Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now you told me that when the guy dropped me at the airport, my baggage, I quickly jacked it from his boots because the guy wanted to steal my baggage. And I drove to the security. I tipped down on 500. You understand? You are giving
Mm.
me context. When I got to the counter, I printed my boarding pass. I brought
Yeah.
out my passport. I gave it to the counter lady, you know, to the flight attendant at the over the counter. She checked my passport. She asked me some few questions about what am I going to do in the UK. I told her I'm going for my masters, in electrical engineering or project management, whatever it is, right? You're
Yeah.
telling context. You're telling the story of everything that happened, you know. But look at all these things I've said now. Was it in the previous story of I took a flight from to the UK?
Mm. Mm.
No. But is it the same story? It's the same story. But am I telling it differently? Yes. Do you understand?
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm not saying you should go nitty gritty into all the
Mm.
details,
Mm.
but you
Mm.
need to
Okay.
know that you need to go a bit deeper into details of all the responses you are giving
Mm.
so that you sound like somebody that has actually done it more than
Mhm.
somebody that has read it in books.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So let's take the next question when you're ready.
Mhm.
I'm going to share something with you now. Maybe
Okay.
this would help you also to prepare.
Okay.
So scoring guide. I asked ChatGPT to give me a scoring guide.
Okay.
Let me see if I can open it here. I mean, don't take this hook, line, and sinker, but just
Yeah. Sure.
use
Sure.
it as a guide for
Yeah.
later
Okay.
on. I'll send it in the chat now, so you can copy it because this chat, if it closes,
Close.
you won't see it again. So that is the what ChatGPT said. So, and if you read it, the scoring guide, I just have to give you a scoring guide based on the
For
questions
each
asked.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, for the question. So it said number one, generic. For the first one, poor
Sorry.
is that poor is that it gives vague or generic examples, no link to strategic objectives. Three is adequate. It describes the project with some alignment to strategy, but limited evidence of systematic planning or measurable outcomes. Right. Five, which is excellent, is that it provides a clear example. I mean, a clear, complex example where program delivery was explicitly mapped to organizational strategy, explains monitoring mechanisms, and demonstrates measurable improvement. Now, that's one. Now, what I wanted you to look at is look at this. Look at this second one.
Yeah.
The second one, that's the stakeholder engagement. It says poor one, that's the one, focuses only on top-down communication or gives little evidence of
Yes.
engagement method. Right?
Mm.
Three, we don't have two and four here, so that's why I was also hampered in my score. But look at what it says about three. Mentions stakeholder meetings or updates, some evidence of collaborative approach, but not sustained. Five, which is excellent, which is what I aim that you are getting. Excellent is that demonstrates proactive stakeholder mapping, tailored
Mm.
engagement methods. Now we are talking about different people, different, you know, examples for different people, and you are giving examples and gives an example of overcoming resistance to achieve consensus. Can you see?
Mm.
So you're even talking about what you learned. That's the R. You understand the reflection. What will you do differently? You see? In all your example now, you forget that you did not mention what you learned. You did not mention what you would do differently,
Mm.
right? So
Yes.
please make sure that you are mentioning all those things. Okay? So you can read the one for the change and project management expertise,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then answer the question based on that. Okay? So shoot.
Okay. How you apply to design measurable improvements. Mm. Okay. So in my previous role, yeah, because I think one of feedback I got in January was that um that my experience, like, I'm sure a lot of strengths, like instead of being vast, like for me to say, okay, you see medicine, I know a lot of medicine, but I'm not saying medicine, anatomy. Do you understand?
Mm.
Like I didn't go for like your experience is so strong in particular, but you didn't give vast, maybe vast examples or project. I think in that interview I used I think I used one project to answer like two questions or one that you get. So I didn't use plenty because me I was thinking since it's NHS shows I'm interviewing for, I should not mention where I worked with private sector because I was thinking, okay, how do I want to impute some things? I say, okay, when I want to say clinicians, I'll say, okay, patient, do I know customers and all? So then I was just narrowing down to NHS, what I've done in NHS. Do you understand?
Okay.
So they gave me that feedback.
Mm.
And again, because I wouldn't know the next question, because I most times, for example, this first question, strategic alignment, I want to showcase my NHS experience. I wouldn't know what next question. So the kind of project, so it's, I mean, I went back to my drawing board and I can say, okay, that's it still ties with what you said. I have two examples.
Mm.
I mean, when I have multiple examples, it should help me because you wouldn't know the next. For interviews that they already sent question, you know what the next question is, so you can easily say, okay, this project, this is I'll use it for that response. But the one that you don't know what next, if you have used your best project that I mean within the NHS, because within the NHS I can't say I've led like 5 projects. Do you understand?
I get you.
Within the
I get
space
you.
of my head, so I have to.
So this is what I would advise you to do, right? You know, I've told you one example of using the story you have
Yeah,
and using it. One example, you can use one example to answer like two questions. You can
yeah,
use one example, one project to answer like two examples. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
yes, again.
So that has one. Like say for instance now you are managing EPR project, right?
Mm,
And they talk about how do you manage stakeholders.
mm,
You can talk about how you managed your colleague as a stakeholder on that project. You can talk
yeah,
about managing patient facing people on that same
mm,
project. That's two
yeah,
examples because you
yeah,
manage them differently. Do you get it?
yeah,
So
yeah,
so that's one, right? And then you can still find other examples. That's one. Two is also that in terms of because of I'm addressing you not knowing the questions ahead, right?
I
In your job description,
yeah,
usually they will tell you what they are looking for. They call it
yeah,
person specification,
yes, yeah,
what they are looking for and what the job is about. So read it, and you can do what I did too for with ChatGPT. Send the job description and person specification to ChatGPT. Ask it to give you possible questions,
yeah,
hmm? Or ask
mm,
it to highlight the most important things from the job description and person specification. And
yeah,
then now start thinking, so what can they ask me and what example do I need to give?
yeah,
So this one I've done this one for you with the job description. So you can check it, you know. They need you to be able to manage stakeholders. So you must think, how have I managed stakeholders in different projects
mm,
throughout my time in the NHS? And you can also use examples outside of the UK. Don't limit it to UK examples, okay?
mm, okay,
Yes, don't limit to UK examples. You can use outside of the UK because you would have lots of other examples outside of the UK, you know.
yes, yes,
Hey. So
yes,
think about how you have managed projects outside of the UK and give examples.
yeah,
Think about
okay,
risk and benefit realization, you know, because that's also something they want you to do. Do you understand?
mm,
So those
yeah,
are the examples, or those are the ways you are going to go about answering the question. And you would just what you would do is this. Like I said, think of the story, think of the event. Okay, think
mm,
of the event, and
okay,
think of the event in a timeline. Hmm?
yeah,
The example of traveling from the Nigeria to the UK, right? Four timeline. Number four timeline is what I said, right? I mean, think of it in four timeline. Don't forget your star approach also, right?
yeah,
But think of it in four timeline. Number one, what happened first? You were going to
mm,
book an Uber, right?
yeah,
And then booking an Uber is just what you put in your head, but you know all these surrounding things that happen around booking and Uber. How the
Mm.
man, wanted to take your luggage away,
Mm.
how you had to pay him cash because his OPay was not working, or how you had to pay him OPay because he did not want any other account. You know, you just know Uber story.
Mm.
What happened in the airport, right? How the maybe flight attendant was rude over
Mm.
the counter, or how she was nice and she was smiling, or how somebody at the check-in was asking you for tip, or how you bought overpriced water in
But mm.
in the departure lounge or something. You understand? That's airport. Think about the flight. Oh, how you enjoyed the food on Hairpiece, how how you had a very very wonderful partner in your road that was gisting you and people were talking, or how you had in-flight entertainment and you enjoyed the in-flight movie you watched, and think about when you landed. Oh, how you were so cold when you landed in Heathrow, or how you were happy to see your wife, when you landed in Heathrow. Think about all of those things, right? That is, you have four timeline, like I said, just four. One, two, three, four. Airport, before airport, at airport, in
Yeah.
flight, and then landing, right?
Yeah.
And in each of those things, you have more story to build around it. So if it is project management also, right? Think about it. Before the project, what did we do in terms of stakeholder? Before the project, what did we do, right? During the project, what did we do? Hmm? As the project was running, maybe when we ran into a problem, what did we do? Do you understand?
Yeah.
And lastly, maybe when the project was closed, that's if it has closed, or if it has not closed, it doesn't have to be four. It can be three. Do you understand?
Mm. Yeah.
It can be three timeline, but just think about it: before the project, during the project, after the project, or you know, in the initial phase, in the middle phase, or whatever it is. Like when I joined, when somebody else joined, or when this thing happened, whatever it is. That's your timeline.
Yeah.
What was the situation? What was the task? What's the extra thing I can put there? How do I let them know what really happened? It's like you are relating an experience to people. Hmm?
Yeah.
Do you understand? So
Um,
um that 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 is what I can that's what I can say in terms of you would not necessarily always have the questions before your interviews, so you would need to make do with that, but you would be fine. Okay,
yes.
you would be
Yeah.
fine
Sure.
even without having the questions. Just think about it like that. You know your stories,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to cram anything. Don't let me like you don't have to cram anything, right?
Yeah.
Just know what it is that if
Okay.
I ask you for a story, you would have stories for days now. Do you understand?
Mm.
If you are gisting your friend, you will have stories for days. So think about it like you're gisting your friend. Okay?
Yeah.
So what I'll do is now I'll give you 5 minutes to think about the question. We're going to just take one last question because I have to go very soon.
Okay.
We'll take one last question. So which question do you want to take
Um.
of the three that is left? These questions are not the questions that you're going to answer
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So just I don't want you to stress over it, but just we're going to take one last example. But I hope all these things I've said. The call is recorded, so I'm going to send you. I would. I don't know if I can send it, but I'll upload it. I'll upload it on YouTube. I'll send you the link. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I'll upload it on the YouTube. I have a YouTube channel that I used to use that time. I just upload it on YouTube and then I'll send the link so you'll be able to watch it there.
Okay.
So what you do is that you can watch it. Just put it on like 1.5 speed, so it's faster for you, so you can cover your
Yeah.
mind. And
Yeah.
and um and then you can listen back and then get all the insights I've given you. But please, what you need to do the most is put context, because it's been a repeated pattern for your interview
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
And please don't be pressured. Okay, don't be
Yeah.
pressured. Just relax. Think about it like I'm gisting somebody. Is it a physical interview or Teams?
Physical. Physical.
Physical. Okay, fine, fine. It's still fine. Don't be intimidated. Don't feel jittery. Just feel relaxed. Think about it that okay, these people don't know you. They want to know you, and they are asking you questions about your experience, right? So
Mm.
just tell them about your experience. Okay. So think
Okay.
about the question you want to answer, and I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
All right. Thank you. Okay, you stopped the previous
Yeah,
one.
I started the previous one, but let me just
Okay.
continue. Let me just continue. So
Okay.
the things I've mentioned, the first thing is that in your reflection, you have to talk
Yeah.
about what you learned and why what you learned and what you are going to do differently. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then why are you going to do that thing differently? Hmm?
Mm.
So I'm going to, like I said, I learned that using change champion
Mm.
helps smoothing the barriers between change and people making the change. It makes things easier, it makes things faster, right? What I would do differently, I would introduce change champions early on, and or maybe I would engage stakeholders early on. Why would I engage them early on? You have to mention it, right? Because I think that this would give me a different result. If I'm to do this with Northfield Trust or with Milton Keynes, I'm going to be doing that first because I think it's going to help me very well. You understand? It's going to help me remove this blocker. It's going to help me pass my message across easily. It's going to help me get people on board early on. Do you understand? It's going
Yeah.
to improve the speed of the project. Whatever it is, you have not done it before, so you can just guess. Do you understand? You
Yeah.
you can be wrong. Do you get? Or
Yeah.
you can say I'm going to test things on a smaller scale before
Yeah.
trying it out on a wider scale. You can
Yeah.
never go wrong when it comes to what you're going to do differently. Just say anything. Do you understand? Okay.
Mm.
Now, I was talking about that the fact that you still sounded theoretical in this your example. You said tailored training for users of the system. Who are the users of this system? You know them. You mentioned the examples of the users system actually, but you mentioned them late after you've talked about users of the system, users of the system, users of the system. Do you understand? So talk about who these users are and how would you use tailored training. Tailored training is theoretical, like I said. Practical is that I would provide promotional videos for community users or patient representatives because they would relate better to promotional videos. I would provide flyers and stickers on the word notice boards for clinicians because it's easier for them to identify. Sorry, this is 1 minute. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I
Okay.
can hear you.
So, like I said, you talk about um, users of the system. How are you providing tailored training? And this tailored training would be in terms of this for this group, posters for this group, video, audio, visual for another group, emails for another group, one-to-one group sessions for another group. Do you understand? You mention this tailored training, okay?
Mm. Yeah.
So that it will not just look like tailored training is theory to you,
Good. Mm.
because tailored training is not theory; it is practical. Do you
Mm.
understand? So you have to talk
Yeah.
about what exactly that tailored training looks like. Okay. Then
Yes. Yes. Okay.
you also mentioned the yes. So the context of the system itself, you did not mention it. You mentioned this system, this system, this system, this system. What is this system? Is it a huge system that is dependent on so much resources, or it is just a simple Microsoft Word? Do you understand? You have to talk about it. Oh, the EPR system is used by 1,000 staff.
Mm.
You understand?
Yeah.
20,000 patients details is on our EPR system. That shows that it's a huge system. You understand? When
So,
you now talk about
yeah.
you are managing stakeholders, then people understand that you need to teach 20,000 people how to use this system. And you've done that. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
not just, oh, I'm going to be teaching people how to use the EPR system or this tool system or whatever. You understand?
Yeah.
You have to give context to what the system itself is. The system that is used by 10 people is different from a system that is used by 1,000 people. Okay?
Yeah.
And if you are changing a system that is being used by 1,000 people, then you know that it is different context from changing a system that is only used by 5 people.
5 people. Yeah. Mm.
Okay? So that's why I said, context matters a lot. Okay? So please
Yeah.
think about all what we've said, and I really do wish you the best in your interview tomorrow.
Please, I would appreciate the link to that
Yeah,
because
I'll stop it now. I'm going to pause the video.